Hello, is it us you're looking for? Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for your patience in letting us get this organized here on our end. Apologies, I'm currently dealing with a pretty serious head cold at the moment. Not COVID, just did a test. I'm negative, but you guys remember colds? OG sickness. I love it. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to just jump in and get started here. More people are going to be joining, I'm sure, as we get this going. I'm very, very pleased to see a lot of familiar faces back, a couple new ones, which is great. My name is Justin. You guys know me. I am the founder and singer-songwriter and the founder of MDIIO.com. One thing I wanted to say here, real quick, we actually have a new team member here on our call here. Actually, I can't see her right now. Her name is Danny Mendez. She's around, but she's somewhere. I don't know where she is, but if she isn't, oh, there she is. I lost her. Danny is our new A&R person here at MDIIO. One thing that we are doing, you guys, is, as I've kind of mentioned a couple times, we are going to be getting set up to put out our hyper audio product. We would love it if you guys had any interest in just spending an hour with us as we show you what it is, what it's doing, how it benefits you guys. Something you guys get to access for free. Costs no money, as you know. We don't charge for this stuff. And if you guys have any interest in participating, please put your email address in the chat, and Danny and or Chelsea over here will reach out about setting up a time with you guys for a focus group, just to kind of show you what we're doing. So if you're interested, please drop it in the chat, your email address. We'd love to see you there. All right, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you one of my, I would say probably oldest, and I don't mean oldest in terms of her age, but one of the relationships I've had for the longest in the music business is a woman by the name of Paula Danylevich. Paula, how are you?
I'm good, Justin. Thanks. And yes, I'm old.
Well, we're both old, I mean.
I'll just quickly tell everybody that I met Justin when he was just a young kid starting out in the music industry. Met him in a recording studio, and right away I saw his talent.
Oh, what a nice thing to say.
He was incredible, even back then, and he's better now.
Wow, we haven't even paid you yet, and you're already dishing out the compliments. I love it. Keep going. Can we send this video to my mom? I want to make sure she's.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I mean, how old were you then, Justin? Like 19 or something?
Oh no, I probably wasn't. I mean, I'm trying to think. Not quite that. Maybe like 25, 26, something like that.
Oh, I don't know. I think
That younger? I don't remember.
I think you were younger at the time. But
Yeah.
anyways, you were just starting out, and you made some really good, smart moves with your career very early on, and
I appreciate that.
And we've been friends ever since.
Well, mutual admiration. Paula was at that time, well, not at that time, after we maintained our friendship, but there was a period of time where she was managing a very successful artist who was sort of like on the verge of a comeback, and she'd asked me to come in and work on that project and produce it. And the artist will remain nameless, but we had quite a bit of success on that project. Certainly, we did in Canada.
It was a great comeback.
It was a great comeback, and it would have been even greater if globally the record label hadn't fallen apart. I remember we were sitting at the studio in just outside of Boston, and every label, every affiliate label had heard the record and freaked out, and within 2 weeks, the head of the label globally left, and then everybody fell off, and that was kind of a bit of a bummer. But we don't have to relish in the.
But we did get a deal in Canada through Virgin, and also in Japan.
That's right.
And got a big publishing advance as well. So it worked out well.
It did. It was successful.
Yeah.
So obviously you can see that Paula and I have a bit of a shorthand. We've known each other for a long time. Paula is a real a very broadly talented woman in this business. She, as we've discussed, she has been an artist manager. She's been a publicist both inside major record labels and independently for artists. She's had big, gigantic, super huge megastar clients, and she's also had, independent, up and coming, clients that she is that she's helping grow. So this is somebody, Paula is somebody that has an intimate knowledge of the multitudes of ways to kind of create an impact from a publicity standpoint. I would even say, across many different sort of budget ranges, DIY all the way up to, we have $1 million to spend on publicity. How are we going to do this? So Paula is a real beyond expert at what she does. So Paula, maybe just a little bit of a self-aggrandizing intro for you to speak on your own behalf, and then we can kind of just jump right into it.
Sure. I've basically worked as an independent publicist most of my life, but I was contracted by several record labels in the early years and throughout my career to work on big projects for them that they thought needed a special touch, I guess. So my special touch. I've worked across every genre, pretty much. I've been doing this for 30 years. I was Nickelback's very first publicist when they recorded their first couple of albums before they got signed. But I've worked with big artists, everybody from, oh my God, the list. Where do I begin?
Well, you also did publicity for international artists in Canada via the Canadian label. So maybe talk about some of those artists, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Give me a second to think. There's so many of them.
Paula's currently Googling herself.
Going back, you know what? I have to actually go to my website because I have I can give you some. So I worked the Bobby Digital project for RZA from Wu-Tang Clan. I worked with, bands like Primus and Les Claypool. I've worked with Blondie, Hall & Oates. There's just so many of them. Bands like Coheed and Cambria. Who else on the big list? Motorhead. I worked with Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden on one of his solo records. I worked with, oh my Lord. One of the things about getting old is my memory is good, but it's short.
So really nobody big.
Yeah, no, yeah. Faith Evans, just a bunch of, people, which is great,
I love it.
I've done a lot of, major label releases and
I want to jump in because as I said, Paul and I have always sort of enmeshed each other in our lives over the course of many, many years. In fact, I think that first record that we did was in '98, which should probably tell you how long ago that was.
I think did we record 98? I think I signed the management agreement in 98, and I think it took us about a year.
Yeah.
So maybe 99.
Maybe 99. Yeah, maybe 99.
It came out in 2000.
It did because, not to brag, but I did get nominated for a Juno for Producer of the Year, and that was one of the records that was part of the part of the package. So I want to jump into it here because I love talking to people like you that come from the business from a different side. Again, I encourage everybody here on this call to ask questions in the chat. We'll try and get to those questions as much as possible. And I'll try and sort of curate the conversation as much as possible. But in the meantime, let me start here. We'll jump in, and if anything that I'm saying kind of triggers questions, by all means, jump in and write in the chat. At the same time, Chelsea and Danny, make sure you're grabbing all these emails so we can set up these focus groups. That'd be awesome. So I want to go back to And by the way, you did some really impressive work with Victoria Anthony, who you introduced me to, and through
Yeah.
that we went and got a bunch of stuff with the Grammys and all kinds of stuff. And we'll jump into all of that stuff because what I really like about Victoria is, essentially here's an artist that kind of nobody really knew about, and you went and created quite a bit of traction and activity for her. But let's start at the beginning. What are sort of like a few things? You're a brand new artist, maybe you have a little bit of local success, and you are sort of setting up a release. What are just like basics that as an artist, especially if you're working for yourself, doing your own thing, maybe you have a manager, but very sort of like DIY. What are some early steps that you can make in setting up your release as far as let's say publicity and marketing goes, in your opinion?
I think the most important thing would be to have a professionally written bio. Don't write it yourself, because I can tell you right now that whatever you think a bio is not a bio. So many, like I have so many young artists who come to me and they say, oh, I already wrote a bio, or a friend wrote a bio or something. And I get it. And I'm like, this is not going to, interest a journalist or somebody, radio person or whatever. You need something that's professionally written. You don't want to be comparing yourself to other artists, So if you can find a writer, and a good way to do that, if you're in a city that has like, or you know what, actually, I was going to say you can go to a local newspaper or something, but you can go to a good music blog that you frequent, that you like, their writing style or whatever, and you can email them and say like, hey, would you be up for writing a bio? Here's my budget, and start with that.
Actually, I love that idea, and that feels like and I say this in the most respectful way. That feels like a very sinister publicist move, because now all of a sudden you've reached out to a writer at a blog. They're going to listen to your music. They're going to write your bio, and maybe they're going to put that story in their blog, right? So there's sort of like a double opportunity.
They might. You could always also go to, like, if there's a music writer at a local music magazine, not even a blog or somebody, a lot of those writers actually supplement their incomes by writing bios, right? So, I think it's a great idea. So the bio is number one. Number two is have great promotional photos. I have a file somewhere on an old computer with like the funniest and worst promo photos ever, from bands or artists. And so, really, decide what your image is going to be, how you need to brand, like how you want to brand. Sorry, I'm on my balcony here in Mexico and I'm being attacked by mosquitoes. So I'm like, way.
We appreciate you suffering for the art, Paula. Thank you so much.
Yes, I am. So, you want to make sure that, your whatever comes across in your photos is the branding that you want. And I would say that, a decent budget for, find an independent photographer who's taking photos. Same thing, go to a local music blog or someone, Google to find out like band photographers in my area or whatever. Look at their portfolio and try to find a photographer who's going to take some photos for you that you can use across your release. So, you want to make sure that you've got a couple outfit changes, couple location changes, so that you have enough photos taken to sort of get you through your release. If it's an album or whatever, you might have several single releases. You're going to need images for your single covers, your album cover, your album artwork. So you want to take enough photos that you have enough to get you through. My kind of rule, even for like independent artists, is hold back a few photos that you can use as exclusives. So for instance, say all of a sudden your song's starting to blow up and your local entertainment weekly newspaper says, hey, we want to do a story on you, or we want to put you on the cover or whatever. They don't want a photo that has been used 100 times. So hold back one or two really great photos for that possibility. you know?
So I totally agree. I think those are great first steps for people, is really effective bios and really effective photos. I think is excellent.
Mhm.
So now let's walk through the process. So let's say you have a great bio, you have a great photo. What are some of the next steps in terms of, let's say, creating? Would you create in your case, a publicist, but would you create a sort of like a marketing plan or a publicity plan, or and what does that sort of plan look like?
Uh, I do a lot of project management as well. So where I'm hiring other people to be on the team. So I have a lot of experience in this as well. So, depending on, first you have to decide what your budget's going to be, you know, um, generally, if you're going to hire somebody to do, say, playlist promotion for you, or, digital marketing for you, good digital marketing company, and then have a budget for the digital ads on top of that, have money for your publicist, an independent radio promoter, depending on the genre of music. And I mean, I know a lot of you, I think most of you are from the US, and I'm I'm a Canadian publicist in Mexico. But I know radio is a whole different ball game in the US, and unless you have like $100,000, you're not going to move the needle. But if you're an artist in a genre that, say, college radio, for instance, is is the format that you need to be at, you can spend $1,000 or $1,200 US and get a really good radio promo company on board. I work with a really good US college and specialty radio company called Shine On Promotions, or Shine On Promo. And like, they're working a track for me right now that's like number 23 this week on the US college radio charts. So they've got more #1 hits or top 10 hits than any other radio promoter in that, not in the genre, but in the college radio
Right.
sphere than anybody else.
Well, look,
So
we talk about radio for a second, because is that just sort of like a thing that everybody has to do? Or is it something that you kind of do eventually, especially if you're releasing, if you're an artist and you're releasing music? Is it like A, B, and C happens, and then we go into the next phase, which might be radio promotion, right? Like, especially today, you're seeing a lot of things bubble up and kind of create some impact in TikTok. And I don't want this to be about TikTok, because I think that whatever, that could be a bit of a lottery in itself. But it's like, and then the radio play comes in, right?
it totally depends on the genre of music. Totally depends on the genre of music. Like if you're, say, an alternative, like if you're in any of the genres that would be covered by, say, US college radio,
Right.
then it's not a huge investment. And I would say go to radio right away. As soon as you have all your ducks in a row, hire your publicist, hire your radio promo, and do some digital ads on top of that.
How well known
And
do you
then
have to be? How well known do you have to be? Like, I think that what you're suggesting is that, for example, college radio is a little bit more empathetic to independent artists. The story doesn't, like, you're not competing with, I don't know, depending on what you're not competing with Drake or Bieber or Dua Lipa, right? You're sort of like, college sort of is about uncovering that cool indie kind of thing, right?
exactly. So you don't, I mean, it's really about the song at college radio. Like if they like it, they'll play it.
Right.
As opposed to commercial radio in the US, where you have to hire somebody and pay off people, and it's all that.
What are you talking about? I thought that became illegal back in the 80s.
Yeah, of course. It
Uh,
still happens. I mean, and I was shocked. Actually, I was really shocked at that. I remember sitting in a meeting in New York at a label, at Tommy Boy Records, in fact. I can't remember what project it was. It was a hip hop project. I can't remember which one. And the radio promo guy rolled in and he was like, man, I need like 80 grand to pay off this guy and this guy. And I was like, what? Like, and that was like, I mean, not in the 80s.
Yeah.
That was in the 2000s, you know.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, there's, you know, radio promoters need to, you know, help out their friends at radio, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
see a couple good questions here that have come in, because this is how we like to do, kind of keep it like just kind of flowing. Matt Dines asked this question: what should a new artist budget for streaming, promo, playlist ads, etc.?
Oh, I just saw a question pop up that what should an artist budget for streaming? Okay, so streaming's a really interesting thing because you know, there's a lot of companies like Playlist Push and stuff that are, you know, they're okay to deal with. I mean, you can get some pretty decent playlist ads, like third-party playlist ads, but really, I'm going to tell you guys a secret right now that, okay, so you know, when you upload your new song, or assuming everybody's done this, and you're a member of Spotify for Artists, and you go, you know, your stuff is ready for release and you've got to write a pitch to the global editors, I'm going to tell you right now what you need to write. Because
pens up, everybody. Pens up. Here we go.
Seriously. So very basically, you know, because it says like, tell us about what inspired you to write the song. They don't want to see that. They want to know how much money you're going to spend on ads pointing back to Spotify. So I can actually here, I'm going to pull up, just going to read one that I wrote recently. Hold on. Got to go into my Spotify for Artists. Here we go. Spotify for Artists. Okay. Let me see. I can pull this up. Shoot, why can't I find it? Give me a second here. Maybe it won't let me see it. This is really weird. I can't find it. Okay, I'm gonna just tell you. So basically, you're gonna give a brief introduction saying like, you know, this is the first single from blah, 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 like write it in the third person. So like, you know, this is the first single from Angela Wright's, you know, debut EP releasing in April. You know, full national PR and radio college radio campaign underway, pre-save campaign on socials with $1,000 in ads budgeted pointing back to Spotify. So you want to use that phrase, pointing back to Spotify. Because they're going to read that and they're going to be like, oh, you're spending money on our platform. And, you know, please try to get it into them 2-3 weeks in advance. So upload your song like at least a month in advance, if not longer. And definitely do a pre-save campaign, because if you can get your friends and existing fans to pre-save it, it's going to start the Spotify algorithms moving. So you will, you know, it'll get detected and people will take notice of it, and you'll get hopefully some additional playlists and some editorial playlists.
You know, you just said something, Paula, that I thought was really, really interesting. and I'm hoping you can expand on it, because you said you talked about pre-saves for fans, right? How much publicity in your mind? How much of publicity is preaching and retention to and for your fans, and how much is finding new audiences and fans? And is that the same process for both? Does that make sense, that question?
Sort of. Yeah. I mean, I'll give you the perfect example. So I have a project that I'm working on right now, rock band, active rock, leaning alternative, sort of alternative 90s vibe with a modern edge. Really, really strong track. The band basically has never had any press or radio ever. And so, but they have a pretty decent following on, like, for an independent artist on socials. They've got probably about 5,000 followers. So we did a pre-save campaign, and we even did some contesting where we gave a pair of what are they called, AirPods. So we set it up through a contesting link. So pre-save the new single, and for a chance to win these AirPods. Out of the 5,000 people, like 43 people signed up. So that 43 people pre-saved it. And I'm like, what is wrong with your followers that they're not pre-saving this? So we started digital ads once the single came out. And we primarily put it into Spotify and YouTube, like pointing towards YouTube. The video is almost at 40,000 views in just 12 days.
I mean, that's a massive win for a band at that size, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
and the budget on it was not huge for that particular, like, say, for the YouTube promotion for the video. It wasn't a massive budget. It was like $250, but it was targeted to the right people. See, that's why sometimes you need you need to find an independent digital marketing company who knows how to actually target the right people.
Or a project manager like Paula Danylevich from hypemusiconline.com. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I work with a great digital marketing company here in Canada called Endemic Marketing. And Justin, do you know Tyler Tassin?
I don't.
Ian Thornley's wife?
Well, I know Ian for sure.
Yeah, so it's Ian's wife, and she's been doing this for a very long time. And she's a genius when it comes to that kind of thing. And she also does third-party playlisting as well. But like, I couldn't believe when she told me, well, we got this on a $250 budget, because they just they choose the target audience.
Yeah, but it's well thought out, right? That's the point, is that it's well thought and it's well targeted.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but she keeps, like, fine-tuning it every day.
Yeah.
She'll look at the analytics and find out what's working so that we get more bang for our buck, basically.
Yeah, I love that. So there's a couple of things. So, obviously it's, well, let's just jump to a couple of questions. I have some questions.
Yep, go right ahead.
So I've been actually going back and forth with Reiner a little bit with a very interesting artist that he has, that he's been sort of presenting to me, and I'm trying to help him find some opportunities for it. Reiner's question is, I have a friend who is one of Canada's greatest jazz piano musicians. He's 83 years old. How would you promote an album where the artist could no longer tour?
Oh, wow. I mean, I think in that genre, a lot of artists don't tour or don't get the opportunity to tour, except for the really big artists. But the jazz community is so tight in Canada that I think by promoting it to that community directly, that you don't have to tour. there are jazz associations in Canada, national and regional. And if you get the word out to them about that, or find out who the people, the writers are, or even, it's jazz radio is, which is not huge in Canada, but the jazz stations that do exist, it's easy to get a hold of the DJs, the music directors, just by Googling them. So,
Well, his follow-up is saying he's already getting worldwide airplay. So, I mean, I guess it's just.
Now, worldwide airplay where? Like online or on actual radio?
Ryan, Ryan, I anoint you. You are able to turn your microphone on, young man.
Okay. Thank you. So no, this would be a follow-up album. The first album, which was released about 15 years ago, is getting airplay on a daily basis on terrestrial radio, as well as satellite radio, and of course on streaming platforms.
Right.
So the question is really how do you sort of enhance that
and
promotion?
How is it getting that worldwide airplay? Like, is that new airplay, or is that?
No, it's been that way for 15 years.
Oh, I see. I got you. So it's not a new album. It's just like a re-release, or
no. Sorry. So no, that album that's getting worldwide airplay was an album that was released 15 years ago. I just finished producing his follow-up album.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the songs that are played over and over again obviously fulfill CanCon, and so they're using it on Galaxy Radio and and those radio stations, easy listening all across Canada on a daily basis. The goal is to jump on top of that, and then with the new album and try to get some kind of traction with it. Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would think they would be pretty enthusiastic about playing new material from an artist that they've already been playing for 15 years.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you may, because he's 83 and you don't have the contacts, maybe, you're going to have to hire somebody that, there are publicists out there and radio promoters out there that are just jazz people that specialize in that.
Well, they've been waiting a long time to hear from him. It's just that he's been in poor health, and right now he's in the hospital for COVID. So So they're starving for new material from him. The problem is this is a project that a responsibility that's been handed to me that I'm completely unfamiliar with. I'm a composer for television, right? So I'm now trying to promote a jazz album, right?
Right. Well, you know what? I would say send me an email via my website, hypemusiconline.com, and maybe I can point you in the right direction. I'll find out through my colleagues who the jazz people are. If there's a jazz radio promoter or publicist or whatever, maybe it's a project that I might want to take on as something different, because I do work every genre, and because maybe we can get some really cool press about
I did
him as an artist.
I did a record several years ago with an artist named Glenn Campbell, sort of very famous, legacy artist. By the way, of everything that I've done in my career, my dad was most impressed with my work with Glenn Campbell, just so that you know. I'm like, I had a number one with, and he's like, and he just always, Glenn Campbell was the one that kept coming up, right? So anyway, but as his health was deteriorating, that actually became part of the story. Was like, hey, here's a treasure, a musical treasure that is sort of making their final sort of statement here, and that became part of the story, and that really opened up the door to a lot of conversations. And in fact, separately, I was just working with a very cool blues artist named Cedric Burnside, whose grandfather didn't make it until he was well in his 60s as a blues musician. So, I think that there's always an angle to tell on the story. I'm gonna pop. I kind of like this idea. Yeah, thanks, Reiner. I kind of like this idea of artists asking their own questions. So I'm gonna jump over to Angela here. Angela, do you want to read your question out? You gotta turn your mic on too.
Yeah, sure. I was going to say, do you have any advice for pre-save campaigns, making them rewarding for listeners, so we aren't just like screaming, go pre-save my song, go pre-save my song? I feel like just like recently, like they go and they click the link when I ask them to, and then it's like the follow through that people kind of tend to fail at the pre-save. So I wondered if there's anything that artists can do to motivate people to actually like spend an additional 2 minutes clicking on and going through Spotify and signing in.
Send everybody $100 bills. That'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, the contesting works, you know, if you want to invest a couple $100 in some AirPods or some other prize that people would be interested in. You know, I mean, the campaign that we just did, you know, it didn't result in a lot of people signing up, but we've done other campaigns with other artists where we've done the AirPods contest and we've gotten like 8,000 pre-saves. So, you know, and it depends, like, you know, if it's just to your own existing followers or whether you're doing some digital marketing for the contest.
And do you feel like, you know, obviously Spotify knows about the pre-saves. So what is a meaningful number of pre-saves for, let's say, a brand new independent artist, for that to sort of ping that Spotify radar? Is there an answer to that question?
Yeah, I wish I knew the answer to it, you know.
Right.
I remember actually at one point, Victoria Anthony, she did one TikTok video that was of her basically sitting in her backyard on her like patio furniture and just talking and saying like, you know, hey, I've got a new single coming out. You can pre-save it now on Spotify. And she had it just playing in the background, like on a little stereo system that was next to her. And she was like kind of singing along to it. She got 8,000 pre-saves.
Yeah.
And I think she spent like $200. So she basically made, she pushed out an ad on TikTok that would look like a post, you know?
Right. So it showed up in everybody's For You page and whatever. It kind of created a little bit of a hype on its own.
Yeah.
I love it. Victoria's an artist that Paula introduced me to. We wrote a really beautiful song called Breathe Underwater. I love it. I was just listening to it the other day, actually. Really came out nicely. It sounds great. And she's amazing. She was, how old was she when she sang for Pink? 13, 12, something like that?
12.
She was 12 years old and got plucked out of an audience singing for Pink in Vancouver. And then she went on like Ellen and all these kind of shows. She became a bit of a viral phenomenon. Anyway, fantastic young artist. If you haven't checked her out, go check her out. Her name is Victoria Anthony. I see also here another dear friend of mine and a collaborator, Melissa Bell. Hey, Melissa, she's hitting us from jolly old England. Melissa, do you want to ask your question, or would you like me to ask on your behalf?
Hi, I'm not going to turn my mic on because I'm in bed because it's late.
Well, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So I'm a Canadian artist in the UK, and I guess I was just wondering if I was, thinking about doing maybe a Canadian radio campaign for a new EP I've got coming out. Just is that worth doing if I can't get there to tour right away?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, first of all, what genre?
Like pop singer-songwriter. Over here, they think I'm a bit more country than I actually am. But in Canada, I'm not country.
I say she's in like the Casey Musgraves lane. Like that's kind of what she is.
I appreciate that. I'll take that.
No problem.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you would have to talk to a radio promoter and let them listen to the song to determine if it's a fit for the format. First of all, and then if it is, then yes, absolutely. I mean, for country, specifically in Canada, there are great artists. Well, even for pop music too, there are great artist programs, like new artist programs with Rogers, with iHeartRadio, and with Stingray. iHeartRadio is called Future Star. Rogers is called One to Watch, and Stingray is called Trending Track, where they it's every 2 months with iHeart, but monthly with the others. And then there's the country iHeartRadio Future Star, the Rogers Country Future Star, or Rogers One to Watch Country, and Stingray Country Trending Track. So they're both genres, and so they pick a new artist basically every month that receives airplay on all those stations across Canada. So if you got chosen the say Rogers Want to Watch Country Artist of the Month, then your song would be added to every Rogers country station in Canada for 1 month in pretty heavy rotation. Same with Stingray. If you get the Stingray trending track, then you get all the Stingray stations in Canada.
I've seen that. I've actually seen that. I've worked with artists, and that has a significant impact
It does.
on their sort of notoriety, and it's a really incredible story.
I'm actually working with a country artist from Newfoundland, who Justin, sort of, kind of. You're gonna know him better very soon.
I know. I've been working on this film, and I've been pushing him up, but I have a really good idea, and we're ready to go. I promise we're gonna really impress you.
Well, FYI, he was supposed to be leaving on Saturday to go to Florida with his daughter.
Yeah.
And I just got a message from him that says, I got COVID and I'm supposed to leave for Florida. Oh, on Monday. Shoot me now. So he's not going to Florida.
Shoot me now feels a little bit over dramatic. I mean, it's just COVID. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, they paid for this trip for him, his mom, and his daughter to go to Florida to Disneyland or Disney World. So anyways, so Justin actually won he started releasing tracks to radio in early 2020, got some traction mostly with secondary stations. Oh, I gotta plug in my computer because it's about to die. Hold on. Okay. Sorry guys, hold on 1 second. If I don't do this quickly, I'm gonna disappear. There we go. I think I'm in now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Got some traction at secondary stations, and kept applying for these artist programs, and he finally got the Stingray trending track, got added to all the Stingray stations. That then sort of spurred on other stations to support the track, and we were top 50 Billboard Canadian country charts, which is great. And he was played at over 70 stations across Canada, and he's a brand new artist.
Yeah, that's amazing. And of course, especially in a genre like country, you don't need a ton of plays to start looking at getting some chart position either, right? You could get some chart position. You can get top 40 country with maybe like a dozen spins or something, right?
No, absolutely not. No, it's
hundreds.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, no. You need quite a few actually.
Oh, okay.
It's not as easy as you think.
You need 6 spins to get to be #1 at country radio in Canada. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no.
That's a great answer. Thank you, Paula. Your knowledge is very, very helpful. I'm certainly always learning things here. For example.
So yeah, Melissa. If you want to email me the track, I'll take a listen and let you know whether I think it would fit at country radio in Canada, or if I can't determine that, I'll send it to a couple of radio promoter friends of mine and ask them to take a listen to figure out whether it would be a fit for them.
Guys,
cool, thanks so much. I'll take you up on that. Sorry.
Yeah, the fact that Paula has been being so generous with her time and knowledge is amazing. Really, really thankful for that, Paula. I don't see her on the call. Oh, there she is. There is. Ife, do you want to ask your question, or do you want me to ask your question on your behalf? Ife is a tremendously talented artist from Newfoundland as well, actually.
Oh, cool.
Hi. Yeah,
Hi.
So, well, I'm super new and I just started. This marketing thing is really hard. So basically, I've been using Submit Hub, but I've noticed that whenever I think my music is a genre, then they say it's not a fit for that genre. So do you suggest other playlisting avenues? And also the Apple Music market seems really hard to get into. So do you have any advice for that as well?
Okay, first of all, what genre of music?
I consider myself pop.
Okay.
But, yeah.
All right. So, and you're based in Newfoundland?
Yeah, St. John's.
Where are you? Oh, you're in St. John's. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Few things really quickly. Have you applied for Arts and L funding?
Well, I'm Nigerian, so
Oh, okay.
I'm not a permanent, I'm a student. So a lot of the time, the funding I got recently was St. John's funding, which was like $750. So
Was
I'm
that
not allowed
the, was that the city grant?
yeah, that's the city grant.
Right. Okay.
So I can't apply for like factor stuff or arts and all and things like that.
Right. Okay. Because you're not a citizen, you're just a student.
Yeah.
Got you. All right. Yeah, I mean, you know what, Submit Hub is one of those things where, you know, I'll often, you know, send releases on Submit Hub just as a supplement to what I'm doing for my artists. And we might pick up 2 or 3, you know, outlets, but, you know, a lot of times they're not worth it. I am really super careful with Submit Hub that I go through every single outlet to find out how many followers they have on socials, because, you know, if they've got 5,000, 15,000, great. If they've got 100, 200 on Facebook or Instagram, I don't bother. You know, it's a waste of credit. I think there's better ways. You know, I mean, just reaching out to your local media is going to be like move the needle for you way more than submitting through Submit Hub.
Yeah, I do find like so a lot of the, especially with CBC, I do get more plays. So I feel like I'm finding myself becoming more of like a St. John's local artist and not really moving outside of that. So that's
Right.
kind of what I'm struggling with at the moment.
Right. I'd love to hear your stuff. If you want to also send me whatever song, like what your current single is right now. So you're getting played on CBC St. John's?
Yeah, so CBC St. John's, like local university radio and stuff like that. So and
That's
I work.
A good start. That's a good
Yeah.
start.
And I work with CBC, so it's a lot easier to get like those contacts as well. So I just find that like after, let's say, Black History Month or whatever, for other like radio channels and performances, it's kind of like really hard to market.
Right, got you. Yeah, I mean, it's I mean, there are some other opportunities across the network at CBC. You know, you said you work at CBC?
Well, yeah, I produced a show called Being Black in NL. So
Okay, cool.
I was able to like, and then another show called Stuffed, so able to get like those networks to work with my music as well. So
Right.
that became a bit easier.
Right, okay, got you. Yeah, I mean, I could give you a few contacts at CBC nationally that, you know, will potentially, you know, you could send them your stuff and ask them to consider for some national programming.
Okay.
And what about like the East Coast Music Hour in Halifax? Have you reached out to them at all?
Yes. So I think for ECMA, I was on the ECMA radio Rising Star thing. So I've had gotten a lot of East Coast things as well lately. So I think it's mostly, I find that radio comes in like the first 2-3 weeks and then it dies down, and then Spotify on Submit Hub as well, you get like playlists, but they'll have like 400 songs on that one playlist, so I don't think like listeners will even end up.
You know what, I've never seen a playlist on Submit Hub that had any substantial listeners that actually, again, move the dial for you.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, in Canada, it's a little easier for you to reach out to some of the DSPs directly, the curators. Not as easy in the US. I don't know much about how to do that in the US, unfortunately, but in Canada, definitely. So yeah, send me your stuff and I'll try to, you know, point you in the right direction on a few things.
great. Yeah, I have a new single coming out on Friday actually. So
Oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah, so I will definitely send you my stuff, and yeah.
Appreciate you. Thank you, okay.
Thank you.
We're going to take one more question here, but I do have a quick sort of I want to interject on a question here. how unique is Publicity for every artist? Meaning, what I mean to say is that like if you're a rock artist, if you're a hip hop artist, if you're an indie artist, if you're a country artist, are the basic tent poles of promotion the same and marketing the same? Or do you feel like everybody has to have sort of like a unique strategy?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to know who your market is in terms of media, because you don't want to be sending to blogs. You know, you don't want to say like be sending a rock artist to a hip hop blog. You know, there's so many people that'll just like not do the research. So you have to sort of like really find who your target is.
Yeah.
And like different genres are like, you know, hip hop, for instance, Christian music in the States. Ooh, that blew my mind. Talking about people wanting to get paid. Like I was working a Christian record of a Canadian artist, and she had, you know, an amazing single and video. And I started reaching out to Christian, you know, blogs, music blogs and stuff. And they're all like, yeah, sure. Like send us like, you know, $250 and we'll, you know, feature her video on our website. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, like it was crazy. And I mean, you're starting to find that a lot with the hip hop blogs as well. You know, that they're like, oh, well, you can pay for a promotion or whatever. And I think, you know, unfortunately, you know, blogs, people who run blogs that work really hard to gain followers and readers don't really have an income stream. And so they have to do that, you know? So you may have to invest a little money, but make sure that the money that you're paying is worth it, based on how many followers they have on socials, and are they sharing the story on their socials? You know, so many times I'll see, you know, an artist that has a story on a blog and it gets 1 or 2 likes or 1 or 2 shares, and that's not moving the needle. You want hundreds or thousands of likes and shares, and, you know, to really make it, you know, worthwhile, you know? So if you go to a blog that says, oh yeah, like for $65, we'll do, you know, a feature article with your song and video, and we'll push it out on our socials. Well, if there's only 500 followers on their socials, don't waste your money.
Right.
You know, but in terms of just generally, I mean, every time I start a project, I sit down immediately and I make my A list of media targets and my B list, and I start with them, and then I'll do research to find maybe new outlets that for that genre of music or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I love that. You know, and again, I think that goes back to the idea of creating a bit of a business, a bit of a strategy and a plan for yourself. Don't just sort of spray and, you know, what I heard this term the other day, spray and pray. It's, you know, kind of like you need to kind of really focus your attention and create a really solid strategy. We're going to ask one more question here.
Like, I'll tell you, if there's one thing that all of you people can do, no matter where you are, is find one solid media supporter who will write about you and champion you, and that will bleed over and then you can go to other people and be like, hey, you know, XYZ did this story on me. Can you check my stuff out, please? I'm a new artist. I'm, you know, don't have a huge budget to hire a publicist or whatever. And I mean, you're going to have to do the groundwork, right? But if you can find 1 or 2 champions in your city or hometown or whatever, and you can approach them in a professional manner. So yeah, I mean,
let's ask a couple quick questions here, because I feel like we can do this forever, but I'm too respectful of your
and
time.
I'm on another Zoom class in about 10 minutes. So
we'll do this really fast. So this time, don't give us such great and long answers. Just
okay.
Just
yes,
cut the fat.
No.
Cut the fat. Dranko, you're welcome to ask your question, or I can ask it for you. Is he still here? There he is. Direct from outer space, little Dranko.
Yeah. I actually have a question about I want to start turning I have an existing following, you know, and I want to start getting them to engage more in some of the products that I have to sell. Like I want to start selling them digital copies and start moving more merch. How do I convert, how do I get them to start spending money as opposed to just watching on YouTube or just streaming on Spotify? How do I increase like value to try and get them
Oh, wow.
involved?
I mean, I think that's the magic question. I mean, I think if you have really great merch, like specifically talking about merchandise that you might want to sell through your website or whatever, I'm not sure about digital copies of like how magically you get people to buy stuff when they can hear it for free on Spotify or whatever. But you know, make sure that if you've got a product line, that it's well thought out with a great design that's going to be appealing to people. So they're going to want to wear your shirt, or you're going to wear your hat, or whatever, your hoodie, use your beer koozie, whatever, you know.
You got to sell Dranko wigs and glasses.
Yeah, I'm already rolling out the glasses soon. That's what I'm talking about. That's to merge.
You know, yeah, I think it's like anything. It's I think Paul's 100% right. Make cool stuff, spread the word. You know, again, music is only one component of your brand, especially if you're an artist. It's only one component of what you're doing.
Oh yeah, you have to find alternative, you know, revenue streams wherever you can. You know, whether that's, you know, pitching your stuff to you know, supervisors at film and television, or finding a you know, somebody who does that for a living, or good merch. I mean, if you're touring a lot and you're going to play the same places, you know, over and over again, make sure you change your merch up so somebody who bought the last shirt goes, oh, I like your new one and I'll buy that too, you know. So yeah, so
Perfect.
that's the short answer.
Appreciate that. We have one more question here, and then we're going to
Okay.
just shut it down here. Where is he? There you are, Peter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hello.
please feel free to jump in and ask your question. You have the floor, young man.
Yeah. So it was a while back, maybe a couple of years ago. I released a bunch of videos, live video kind of concert. We'd done a bunch. We did some costume changes. Released 5 videos. It was 4 originals and a cover. And I put like not a lot of money behind each one, maybe $25-$30 through social ads and for each one. And I'm from St. John's, Newfoundland, by the way. And
Oh wow, okay.
but I was trying to target in kind of Southern America, the Midwest, and places as well. People who are, you know, and I was really focused on, you know, people like, you know, John Prine and certain types of music that were similar. And like 4 of them, you know, got a few views, and then one just shot up to like 5 times the rest. And I don't know what exactly I did any differently, but I guess my question is, once something like that happens, it's too late for me now with this one, but like the next time something like that happens, what's the, like, if I notice a spike that's like 500% more, what's the next thing I should do, like right away, to make sure that gets capitalized on?
Oh, and these are Facebook ads, YouTube ads, what?
Yeah, it was all through Facebook and Instagram. Yeah.
Okay. You know, I mean, I think you go in and you fine tune, you look at your analytics and you fine tune, you know, who you've targeted. That's the easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have new stuff coming out?
We're recording a record right now. Should be releasing it in the late spring.
Okay, cool. And have you applied for funding?
Yes.
You've already got your application into Arts NL?
I'm writing it right now.
I just finished writing a like 15-page marketing plan for one of my artists today for Arts NL.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, I'm applying for tour funding from Arts NL.
Why aren't you applying for the 15 grand for the recording?
I'm applying for it for touring. I got a different funding for the record.
Oh, I see. Okay. Who did you get funding through?
Music NL and the
Oh,
city.
Music NL and city. Right, great. I'd love to hear the stuff, so send it to me once it's recorded.
Okay.
Anyways, Justin, we're gonna have to wrap up because I've got 5 minutes on this other call. But you know, anybody who's, I mean, Canadian, and I don't want to, you know, say like if you're from another country or whatever, don't contact me or anything. But because I primarily only work in Canada, then like if you're a Canadian artist and you want, you know, to send me your stuff to check out, please feel free.
Although certain Americans would say if you're from another country, get out. That's what certain Americans would say, but I don't say that. We need everybody. Angela, to answer your question, Paula has been more than verbal about just reach out through hypemusiconline.com and just connect with her and just remind her that you were part of this presentation today. Paula, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
For the incredible information that you've bestowed upon us today. I think that it was really applicable whether you are established or establishing yourself. I think that there's a lot of really great tools and tricks and tips here that you've presented to us. And I always love speaking to people like you because I get to learn more every day. So again,
Mel just sent me a message. Can you she's looking for my contact. Can you hook her up so I don't, because I'm gonna lose the message here. Melissa, I think it was.
Oh, Melissa Bell. Yeah, Melissa, just reach out through hypemusiconline.com. I'm sure there's a contact right?
There's a contact form on the website, and my email address is there too.
Perfect. Well, Paula, have an awesome day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody here for participating and joining us. We have one more coming up next week, same time, with Sarah Martinico. Sarah is has done launched several initiatives with BMG Music, including adding Strictly Rhythm master recordings into Avid Pro Tools products for direct sampling. She also was very instrumental in helping launch sounds.com for native instruments. And she is also an independent music marketing quarterback, not dissimilar to Paula, more on the marketing side than the publicity side. And she's going to be with us next week. Just again, talking about.
Say goodbye now, everybody. Bye. I look forward to hearing from you, some of you people.
For sure. Thank you so much. Okay. Take care. And she's going to be with us next week. I want to thank Chelsea and I want to thank Danny from our team here for making sure that this has gone off without a hitch. Again, invite people to come back next week. You know, we want to keep doing these things here, and the more people that you invite back, the better. You know, I think that we're giving a lot of great information here for people. And every time we do these things, we really learn. And so, you know, we want to keep growing our community here, you guys. So grateful to see returnees, grateful to see new people, but love to keep this going. I'm going to put my email address in here. Again, I've done it before, jgray@MDIIO.com. Please reach out directly. As you guys saw, Paula is more than open to having you reach out to her. That's the whole point, is trying to help increase your relationships and build and grow your community of people that can help. So grateful to everybody for being here, and we'll see you next week, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.